Good evening and welcome to our first ever virtual Wrecking Ball fundraiser. I am Audrey Thompson, board chair of the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse. I really wish that we could meet in person this year to have a drink, play Jenga, and browse the ever-creative silent auction of reclaimed art and furniture. But even at home, we couldn't miss the opportunity to bring the Wrecking Ball to you. This is our 7th Wrecking Ball fundraiser. 7 years ago, the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse had just moved into a new location on Dempster Avenue in Evanston, growing from a 5,000 square foot warehouse to a 13,500 square foot location. It was a big deal. I've heard lots of stories from staff and volunteers at the time about that move. Legend says that things like toilets were rolled down the street piece by piece to the new space. Growing into a new space meant growing the organization's work and impact. And the Wrecking Ball was born as an opportunity to invite the community to financially support the work and help the organization grow. Grow into a sustainable nonprofit organization that reduces building waste from landfills, promotes reuse, and rebuilds lives. And it worked. The financial support from the Wrecking Ball each year allowed the organization to operate a larger reuse location, a retail store that was open to the public and full of donated building materials. The materials were saved from landfills and sold at affordable prices to the community. Even more materials were salvaged when we started our deconstruction services, also about 7 years ago. The Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse is the only nonprofit organization in Chicagoland that takes apart houses and rooms for the purpose of salvaging and reusing materials. Contractors and homeowners contract with us to save their building materials and can donate them to us for reuse and resale in our stores. Finally, we started a workforce training program. For it wasn't enough to realize the potential and value of building materials if we weren't also going to realize the value of the people in our community. Our 5-month paid program provides job readiness and on-the-job training for individuals overcoming barriers to employment whose lives would be changed with a career in the building trades. 7 years later, we are here again to ask for your financial support as we grow. Just last month, we moved into a new 28,000 square foot location on Hartree Avenue. A huge deal, especially during a pandemic. And yet, I know that you are again here to support the growth in our vision. The vision to live in a just and vibrant world built on sustainability and which values our planet and the people who live here. Tonight's virtual wrecking ball format gives us an opportunity to tell stories in a new way. Our theme is building the community through reuse. You will hear and see how the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse serves as a hub for sustainability in our community. From artists to homeowners to businesses, they are all important pieces to building this community. I hope the diversity of our stories inspires you and that you consider making a financial contribution to ensure that our work grows and thrives. Enjoy the show.
Joined us this evening for our, I guess we can still call it a ribbon cutting or wood chopping or whatever we want to call it. I am Audrey Thompson and I am the chairman of the board for Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse. Please welcome Alderman Peter Braithwaite. And I'd also like to thank you for coming to our event this evening. Our board members are also in the parking lot. If you're here, please raise your hands. All right. And when I think about, this has been a long journey for us. And when I think about purple, I think of royalty. And I really am so delighted and I feel like royalty that we are in this building. And we're just happy that you're here and that you're here to welcome us into this neighborhood, into this ward. And we really, really appreciate you. And so now we want to bring up our fearless leader, Ina Gutierrez, who has worked so hard.
Thank you. We're so grateful to all of you to celebrate the next chapter of the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse. I'm especially grateful for our sponsors for tonight's event, Sherwin-Williams at the Wedding Tailor for our branded masks, Horrigan Urban Forest Products for our tree stump, and I want to shout out our friends at Sketchbook Brewery, who are not only friends but customers, which we highly value, and our Soul and Smoke food truck. So make sure you get some food. So our organization started with a very simple question. How do we build a community that values our planet and the people that live here? And even more importantly, how do we highlight the value of those things and people who others have disregarded? How do we reclaim that value and lift it up and share it with others? This building is not just a building, but more importantly, it's a vehicle through which we can make Lou's vision a reality. I wasn't sure we would succeed at first. We approached 2020 with great optimism of our growth, and by the spring we were, like everyone else, scrambling to provide stability for our workforce trainees, to pay our staff, and to figure out how to stay healthy in all of this. So we put out a call to all of you, and we asked for your help to build this space and to commit to this sustainable community in a pandemic where the world turned upside down. And we asked you to go big and to have faith and hope and trust that we could do it. And you responded. Yes, you responded. You responded with everything, your time, your talent, and your treasure. You encouraged us, you lifted us up, and you supported us every step along the way. And our board and staff are full of gratitude for all of you and for your contributions. Because this building is not just a building, it's a representation of the community. A community that doesn't throw building materials away. A community that supports others to have high quality building materials to create safe and happy homes. A community that values repair and reuse. That wants all of its members to successfully hold jobs that support themselves and their families. As you will see, or as you maybe have already seen, this building is a work in progress. We aren't finished moving in, and we aren't finished growing the community that we all seek. But in the months and years to come, I know that we will get there. And I know and believe that you will be with us every step along the way. And for that, we thank you.
So proud of the board, of the leadership, of all the volunteers, of all of the employees who are learning a trade here and going to have a productive and fulfilling profession that come out of here. This is a proud day for Evanston, and even in the midst of a pandemic, you've managed to celebrate in a great way the opening of this. So congratulations to all of you. I look forward to sawing, which is a lot better than cutting the ribbons.
The reasons that the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse was founded was for our friends and neighbors to obtain the building materials they need at reasonable prices. And that includes our local business friends. Take a look at how great pieces from Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse are woven into the fabric of some of your local favorites.
And I just wanted to say happy 10th anniversary to the Rebuilding Warehouse. Keep up the great work. So when we had originally designed this space, this called for tile along the whole back. I hate tile. I feel like it's very sterile. It came in that the cost was so much higher that we had to figure out a different material. In our old space on Dempster, we had salvaged barn roofing for the back of our bar. And so when we were at the Rebuilding Warehouse, literally just looking for ideas, they were dismantling the building that is now going to house the new expansion. And that building, we had said maybe we could use lath for the back, and the Rebuilding Warehouse has a training program where, I think it's 18 to 24-year-olds come and learn how to work with different materials. And so this was a project that they were going to do for us, where they would take the lath and they would finish it and sand it and then seal it and then attach it into, I think it was 3-foot blocks that they would attach, and then our builder would put it up on the wall. And the lath was just a natural fit, because the name hewn actually comes from when I was working on the coast of Maine. We would go and tear down a building, or not tear it down, we would salvage the building and look for hand hewn lath. So meaning it was an axe was used to cut it down. And so for me, lath is something important because it's like the bones and structure of a building, a house that you never see. It's the same as like the gluten in bread. There's like the unseen things that are so vital to your structure. So this lath is on the back, and then the lath is also the front of the bar is lath. So instead of it being stacked like that, we put it like a cards, and they stacked it up into 1-foot squares. And so the lath now is vertical instead of horizontal. And so it was another way to save on using tile, and still using a reclaimed material. And then our countertops are all the wood floors that have been salvaged, some of it from the house that was taken down. This whole bar is actually old floors. And these windows came from a woman's house in Evanston who was a really strong social activist and Quaker in the community, and her house was being taken down, and people really felt strongly about salvaging some of her materials because it was such a gathering place for change. And so these two windows came from her house, so we kind of share kind of that mission of having windows from the back look into the front and be repurposed and have a strong history to it. So I've known about the Rebuilding Warehouse because customers work there, have come in. You know, it was down the street from our old place on Dempster, and I love reusing any sort of salvaged materials, building materials. So it was kind of a natural fit that we would try and see what we could use for our new space.
My name is Lisa Delantoni, and I am the founder and executive director of Evanston Made, which is a nonprofit arts organization whose mission is to connect Evanston creatives to the public. As my husband and I, 3 years ago, embarked on turning a former Polish meat shop into our home, we had a really tight budget and a really tight timeline, and my husband likes to work with found movement and found object as an artist, and so he naturally gravitates toward a reclaimed sort of materials place anyway. We had gotten to the part of the project where it was like, time to do the kitchen, and you can get cabinets for whatever, $20 billion, and we were there looking at your cabinets, your kitchen cabinets, and I was like, we're not seeing anything we like, so I kind of snuck over to the office part, and we have these 11-foot ceilings, and we needed 4-foot tall cabinets for the kitchen, and I was like, Dave, any chance we could maybe invest in someone's previously used office furniture and change that into our kitchen cabinet? And of course he added the purple because Dave loves color, but it ended up being one of the most affordable choices that we've probably made in our adult life. We could have had custom cabinets for $20,000, or we could have, I think we spent $400 on all the kitchen cabinets. But one of the favorite pieces that I've seen made from reclaimed materials is my husband made something called a seesaw organ pipe and seesaw organ. And we had been going to Evanston Rebuilders every day, right, to look for kitchen cabinets and to find everything that we needed for this rebuild project. And there was a huge set of 12 organ pipes, some of which were 12 foot high. And my husband Dave is like, I gotta get the organ pipes. And I'm like, you really don't need, nobody needs to purchase a set. No, it's the whole octave and it's so great, I'm gonna make something. So he came home and he built a seesaw, which underneath it has bellows. The bellows are connected to tubes that blow air that are then connected to organ pipes. So when you go on the seesaw, it makes this crazy like foghorn bellow noise. It's been one of the funnest experiences to see something that I'm sure would have just totally gone into landfill turn into a kinetic playground musical equipment. I think that there is a direct correlation between reclaimed materials and the art space in that artists are challenged pretty consistently with creative problem solving and really honing those skills. Through a focus on sustainability and a focus on affordability, we can put some creative problem solving measures around how we approach reclaimed materials. And artists are poised to solve those problems. And even if it's a matter of bringing artists into, let's say, an Evanston Rebuilder Warehouse space and inviting them to repurpose, because Nancy is fantastic with these projects where she's always inventing, like, let's build a bench out of corkscrews. Bringing artists into that space to really activate reclaimed materials is something that I feel is just synonymous with what both of those sort of disparate entities really need. And as we sort of confront a lack of resources, as we confront a lack of space for people to be making in, there are ways that artists, I'm hoping, lead us into a new way of looking at materials and spaces, possibly in a way that hasn't before. So I am looking forward to a lot of future collaborations between not only people who are interested in sustainability and building materials, but also artists who possibly can help guide us to really good solutions.
My name is Regina Santana, and I'm the co-owner of Kombucha Brava. My husband and I opened Kombucha Brava in 2016. We had a big life change, and we had this wild idea of working together as a partners. And it has been a fantastic trip in so many ways. It's challenging, but we are happy that we are here. About Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse through word of mouth. When I had the opportunity to build something, that's one of the first places we went to. And then when we went there, it felt like a treasure hunt. You know, it felt exciting to find the materials that we were looking for in that manner, that you are finding, you know, looking at many, many doors until you get yours. And it was not this cookie cutter, like, you know, thing that you find made, I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know by whom, you know. So we were able to find pieces of woods for here and there. We found our beautiful entrance door, inside door, that is this gorgeous wood, and we found a rebuilding warehouse. We were able to make our counters out of reclaimed wood. So yeah, it was just a lovely experience, and people were so helpful. When I had my projects, they would just help me out, you know, like find the materials that I need so that I could reuse things. Because I know that I'm reutilizing things. So there's an environmental aspect of it, that I'm getting things that would otherwise be thrown into the landfill. And if everyone thought about buying locally, or even like going back a little bit to the way it used to be during your grandparents' time, like the local baker, the shoe person that repaired the shoe instead of just tossing the shoe, you know, the person who repaired your bike, or, you know, why not give the gift of something that is made locally or right from your community? You know, it's cheaper to go to the big box. Yes, you can buy 10 gifts there, but I'd rather give just one gift that is a little bit more expensive but support my local economy. That's really, I think, can have a ripple effect in the environment and the planet.
So much to our friends and partners who shared their stories with us. Now let's take a look at our new warehouse in a tour led by our very own Ann Nicklin, Director of Workforce Training and Deconstruction Services.
The Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse, to our new home here at 1245 Hartree Avenue in Evanston. I'm Ann Nicklin. I'm the Director of Workforce Training and Deconstruction Services at the warehouse, and I was lucky enough to be able to oversee the construction of our new home. So January of 2019, we started to feel the pinch of our space at our original home over on Dempster. We started to realize that if we had more space, we could serve more people. We could provide more access to our materials. We could provide affordable access to our community. We could serve more workforce trainees. If you look around Evanston, it's an amazing community. It's a very livable community, but it doesn't have a lot of warehouse spaces. We spent about 6 months driving around, looking at every industrial site in Evanston, and even thinking, hey, what happened if we moved to Skokie? What would happen if we moved to Niles? And ultimately we realized we're Evanston. Our community is where we are based. Community is who we serve. It's deeply important that we stay here within the city of Evanston. So we found this home here at 1245 Hartree. The building was originally a Montgomery Ward distribution spot. So we were lucky enough that we were able to take a space of 28,000 square feet and remodel it completely so that it could accommodate our warehouse. So one of the main things that we do at the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse is we sell materials to the community members. All of our materials come from either donations or we come from our deconstruction services. So everything that we've got here is seen in second life, is seen in second opportunity and usefulness. All of it, once it comes out of the warehouse, passes through our cash wrap station. This is our main point of interaction with a lot of our community members and with most of our customers. On the back wall here, we've got a wall of reclaimed galvanized steel. This actually came off of a water storage silo. We've got what we call our cash wrap station. This is basically our customer service desk. And it was built out really beautifully by our warehouse manager, Ryan, who you'll probably see if you're here in the store, and our business development director, Court. These pipes here that are holding up plants and holding up our kind of sneeze guard here, these are actually from the sprinkler system. So when we switched out the sprinkler system in this space, everything was drop ceiling, and so it had those sprinkles that would go down through the drop ceiling. When we moved to an open and exposed ceiling, we had to put all of our sprinklers facing up, and these are the extra pipes that were left over. Move on from the cash wrap and go take a look at a community hub. So our community hub here is still a work in progress. This is going to be the Lou and Pete Dixon Community Hub. Lou Dixon is our founder. 11 years ago as a contractor, she was looking at all of these materials that she would have left over from a project and have no place to take them. Or she would be doing a historic renovation of some of the beautiful homes that we have in Evanston, trying to source a matching piece of trim or trying to source an old door that looked like an old door and actually matched everything else in the home. But she wasn't finding resources. So she started the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse. She saw this as an opportunity to keep materials out of the landfill, to put them back to a good second use. And at the same time, she recognized that she was seeing all these folks around her community who were not getting good job opportunities. And she said, you know, I've been a contractor for a long time. This is a great opportunity. You don't need a college degree to get into contracting. All you need is hustle and hard work and some support to make the right connections. And so she started up the workforce training program. And so in honor of Lou's commitment to her community, and in honor of the fact that she started this great organization and we are now expanding and growing beyond what I think any of us even imagined, this is the Lou and Pete Dixon Community Hub. This is also a space that's going to be available to any community group that needs a meeting space. We're making this available free of charge so that there is a home for community groups in Evanston to grow and find stability. So this is our new workshop. This is kind of an amazing opportunity for us. We launched our workshop in 2018, in November 2018, and we started holding classes immediately. There were opportunities for adults, opportunities for children, and honestly, it's one of our favorite things. So we've actually doubled the size of our workshop here. But one of the things that I also really want to talk about in here is my favorite reuse in this project, and it's almost invisible. When we first moved into this space, there had been a company here for about 40 years. What they'd done is they had installed those drop ceilings all the way throughout the entire building. And so we took them all down. So what we did is we harvested all of them. We vacuumed them all off. We removed all the dust. And we had, this is 2 pallets right here of the drop ceiling fiberglass panels. We had about 26 pallets like this. We actually specifically designed the new walls that we put up so that they would have a 24-inch stud spacing so that we could take these 2x4 ceiling tiles and actually put them right in the space between the studs. And that is all of the insulation on all of our walls. So that insulation provides our fire protection on our rear wall, and then all of our other walls, that's our acoustic ceiling. So that means I can have a conference room next to my workshop and not get a lot of noise concern.
My favorite feature of the new warehouse is actually the laundry room, because one of my many jobs was to take home the rags and wash them at home, and I am so excited to have a real laundry room with washers and dryers and places that we can keep this place nice and clean for our customers.
So what's my favorite feature of the new warehouse? It's all the amazing lighting. When we brought over our merchandise from our old space, it was dark and hard to see things, and you brought the same item into our new space and it looks beautiful and fresh, and you can imagine it in the space. So lighting's amazing. We have over 20 skylights in the space.
What is my favorite feature of the new warehouse? It's got to be, since I'm in logistics, the loading docks. That not offloading into a parking lot in the rain and got to scramble to get it in and fill the aisles, that we actually have a place where we can back up and take deliveries out or bring pickups in. It's awesome.
Court and I had received the architect's rendering of what the space would look like, and we put our heads together and thought through, what do we have in stock in our current space that would give us the ability to have something that you're not going to find anywhere else. Working together, we wound up with this really, really cool design. I'm really proud to have put, my mark on something in the space that, I can point at and say, I built it. And my daughter can come and say, my dad built that. And it's really, really cool to have something like that in your space.
Anne and her team did such an amazing job working on the move to the new location. Anne will return later to continue the tour, but now we are going to hear from some of our valued customers sharing their projects and thoughts on why Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse is so important to them.
Hi, I'm Pat. I've been shopping at Evanston's Rebuilding Warehouse for about 10 to 15 years now, and currently I'm retired and I am in the process of rehabbing my first investment property. I found out about Evanston's Rebuilding Warehouse about 10 to 15 years ago. We had at the time a weekend home in Michiana Shores, Indiana, and I was in the process of renovating the weekend home to do some rentals. And my girlfriend, who lived in Baltimore at the time, said, oh, there's got to be an easier way for you to do this without going to the big box stores. And she actually did some research and found Evanston's Rebuilding Warehouse. And I went and I fell in love. And Evanston's Rebuilding Warehouse spoke to everything that I love. It spoke to using things that were previously owned and having something different than anyone else. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The question was, what was my favorite thing that I've purchased from ERW? It's not a fair question because I've purchased so many items over the years that it's really hard to narrow it down to one. Recently, in my last 2 months of purchases, I've purchased 10 solid wooden doors that are absolutely amazing and fabulous, that I absolutely love. 10 of them, beautiful. And I've also purchased a marble vanity top, Carrara marble with a porcelain sink. Amazing. 2 of my favorite purchases. Hi, my name is Pat Aragbu, and I just want to say congratulations to Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse for their 10-year anniversary. I'm hoping to shop for many more years with you.
Hello, I'm Heather Jones, and I've been shopping here for about 7 months. I heard about Evanston Rebuilders through my contractor guy, Mr. Gary, who is remodeling our place. I find it pretty easy to shop at Evanston Rebuilders Warehouse, mainly because of the staff. They're so friendly and helpful. Whatever you need, they're eager to help you find it or make suggestions or give ideas. So I love coming here. Well, I come to Evanston Rebuilders Warehouse mainly because you find things that you really don't find at, for example, Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards. Especially if you're remodeling something older, you'll find things here that match better with it than being just traditional or what you would call in style. You can find from in style to Asian to in the middle to just about anything if you're willing to spend the time and search. Favorite thing I bought of Evanston Rebuilders to this point is the mantle for my fireplace. The place that we previously renovated don't have a fireplace, so we created one. Ryan helped me with finding the mantle, which Mr. Gary approved. We loved it. We bought the screen for it, and that's my favorite thing thus far.
It's always so fun and inspiring to hear stories from our customers and see how they find materials at the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse and incorporate them into their home renovations. Now let's hear from some of the creative makers who participated in our design challenge.
My piece for the wrecking ball was the ceramic ornaments. I like little masterpieces, but I found these sheet of these tiles at ERW and thought, oh, these would kind of be, I don't know, mid-century shape, and they had some crazing, so I liked that. That picks up the dye a little bit better, and thought, oh, a rainbow would be great for the project. So I did a series of 8 colors for the entry. So my Etsy shop, All My Handmade, is based on recycled and upcycled materials. It started with a cashmere sweater I had that got a hole in it, and I said, I love this thing. And I was able to make a floral pin from it. And with my alcohol ink, usually you can find one sheet of tile that somebody had as a black backsplash and they didn't need to use the whole thing. So you can have one sheet of cool tiles, and that's enough to make a series of ornaments or repurpose to pins. So I like doing that because it keeps it out of the trash and it provides another reuse. And I think there are people who are looking, who are eco-conscious and want to buy something made from something that didn't land in the garbage. I found out about the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse a few years ago, and I was drawn in because I saw, I think on Instagram, doll heads that ERW had. And my children quickly shut me down, but I wanted to make a chandelier with doll heads. As far as what I would like to see ERW offer in their new space is possibly some classes. I think people look at something and go, oh, that's really cool. I want to learn how to do that. Those kind of classes, I think, bring a different person into your space than somebody who is going to look for wood to patch their floor. So it brings a new clientele in by offering something new. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to put myself out there and show my art. And I'm thrilled with your new space. I was there last weekend and it's beautiful. It's big. I can't wait till it's filled. And thank you again for some money to spend.
Question is, how did I come up with the design for the piece? And I went into the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse, and they actually had their table full of free stuff out. But I saw there was this sort of beautiful circular metal object, like kind of rings within rings. And then there were all these like little, I think they're drywall screws. They've got like little angled brackets and then a screw, and they look kind of like halfway between angels and airplanes. And then those the screws with this sort of circle on the top, which really felt like it wanted to be a little figurine in the center. So the piece kind of already knew what it wanted to be, and I just had to look down at the table and see it kind of drifting itself together. Normally my work is very colorful, so I thought it would be really interesting to try to do something kind of monochromatic with just steel objects. Put all of those together in a pile and ended up using every single piece that I took out, and the only thing that I added in was literally some silver wire from a hardware store. I'm a burner. I go to Burning Man style events and other sort of arts festival events, and a lot of those are all about leave no trace. People are really trying to like reuse things, redevelop things in interesting ways. So there's a whole culture of like finding interesting bits of trash or otherwise unwanted pieces, and then like transforming those into assemblage art in some way. I'm trying to remember how I found the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse. I think I'd just been searching for like maybe thrift stores or something similar. But out in the Bay Area where I'm from, we have a couple of different places, including the Depot for Creative Reuse, which serve similar purposes in the community, which is to kind of create a place for people that have weird rubbish or reclaimed interior pieces, to give them a place to deposit those, and then for artists and educators and builders, gives them a place to come and find interesting pieces. And it also was really a wonderful coincidence that just as I was getting here, they were having that competition. And so, you know, I got here and I felt like I could immediately make a small contribution to the community that I was joining. So that felt really nice. Like I wasn't just here as a tourist, I could immediately come in and like take part. Winner. Woo! I get $50 to spend at Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse, which is going to be great. Thanks, Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse. I'm really excited to be in the new space and see what you do in it.
Hi, my name is Mabel, and I'm 9 years old. And we built a dog house for the challenge. I really wanted to do like a box on wheels or something, but then Mabel was like, what if we do a dog house? I have a dog named Cora. She's too big for the dog house. We just thought it would be easier to make one for my dog since my dog was smaller. My dog's name is Molly. Well, we were just like looking for wood, and then we were like, what if we use this drawer because it's kind of like walls? And then Mabel's dad found these like planks of wood, and then we thought we could like saw it in half. I remembered that we were gonna paint our cabinets, and we had like these big things of paint that we weren't gonna use. I thought like what Molly would like, and I know how she likes to have like windows to look out on all sides. So we got pieces of wood that were a little bit shorter so she could see out the edges. She's like a hunting dog, so she likes to look and see if there's anything like squirrels or something that she can chase.
I learned, I don't really remember what it's called, but it's like you make a little spot for the hole first for the nail to go into, and then you do the nail, or else it makes a crack.
Yeah, and I learned that if you use an electric screwdriver to screw stuff, it's much easier than a hammer. Because at first we tried a hammer and it took us like an hour and then we never finished, so we just used an electric screwdriver.
Yeah.
Bye. Thanks for the gift card.
The reason why I like to repurpose is, for one thing, that it keeps things out of the, the landfill. Secondly, I really like it because it's creative and you can make one-of-a-kind things. And I've recycled, I think, for a long, long time. I learned how to sew when I was a kid, and you would cut things apart and put them back together in a new way. And that's what this is to me, too, the recycling. So that's why I love to do this. This is my Electrolux, a 1950s Electrolux succulent garden. And it is made out of this old tank made by Electrolux. And my husband actually garbage picked it years ago, probably over 20 years ago. And it reminded him of when he was a child and he would visit his aunt's house. And he'd sit on this because it wasn't this one, but he would sit on it because it felt like a rocket ship. I decided to turn it into a little garden because it just felt like it should be horizontal instead of vertical, like maybe a table lamp or something. And then I thought about the plants and I thought, hey, succulents are popular, and so it is a succulent garden in an Electrolux canister. One thing I like about the warehouse, other than all the goodies that are here, are the people. The people do so many things and they come from their heart and they really want to be here. And also the workforce training where people get to, that wouldn't have the chance to learn a skill, are really able to learn something. And that's what they'll just take with them all of their lives. So that's those two things, right? The workforce training and the great people that work
My whole goal was to just do something that wasn't very common. And to me, that's the hardest part of the whole thing, is figuring out what to do. And so I thought, well, so I sketched out some things. I went online and looked up some, my original thought was it might be a little witch's cottage. And I thought, well, it might be a little dark. I looked at some pictures, and they all have the roof that's kind of at an angle, the crooked chimney, and all that kind of stuff. So the materials are all very, very basic. It's pretty much whatever I got handy, but they're a scrap of plywood and a scrap of old cedar decking. So once I had the idea, the concept of some of them rough dimensions, got a scrap of plywood that I used for the front. I had some other scraps that I used for the side. The floor came right out of the warehouse as a piece of wood that was finished on one side, and it looked kind of nice. So I cut that up and used that for the floor. The windows are just an old plexiglass storm window that I had lying around the house. The roof actually came from an old cedar decking. I sawed it up into strips and put that on. and all the window trim. That was some old porch floorboards that I salvaged, that I replaced the porch on our house. And you know, everything else was just kind of scraps that came from, you know, an old piece of copper pipe that I had lying in the basement. And so I think the only things I bought were the hinges. The way I found out about the warehouse is I read in, I think it was the Evanston Roundtable, that, you know, there was this, you know, recycling thing. And I looked at that and said, boy, that sounds like something that I ought to find out about. And I finally walked in the door, and Lou was standing behind the desk. And I said, you know, I just read about this in the paper, and I thought it's something I need to find out more about. And so the rest is history. You know, I just started volunteering on a regular basis. Yes, my favorite thing about the warehouse is just, it's the fact that it exists, that there's a need for it, and there's a demand for it. And it's pretty much, you know, staffed a lot by volunteer efforts, which I'm happy to participate in. And the fact that we've moved twice now and into bigger and better and nicer places, you know, that shows me that, you know, it really is a need that our society has, in case it wasn't already obvious. But, you know, the community is supporting it, and the people are supporting it, and I just think it's an object lesson for our society and for our current times. The warehouse has been here for 10 years, and all I can say is, way to go, warehouse.
Let's go take a look at my favorite room, Workforce Training Headquarters. This is actually going to be the home of Workforce Training. I run the Workforce Training program, as I may have said when we first started up, and for me, that's really where my passion lies. Working with folks who have barriers to employment and providing them with the support, with the services to reduce those barriers. People work with us for 5 months. We pay minimum wage. We offer experience on the job site. We offer classes on financial management. We do OSHA 10. We do the EPA's RRP course. We're offering a forklift course now. And for 5 months, we work with individuals, and we reduce all of those barriers that they're facing as part of all of this is made possible. We're the first Snap to Success pilot within the state of Illinois. So we have a unique opportunity to serve greater and greater numbers of people and to serve them better and better. This is a space that is specifically for my team, my graduates. One of the interesting things about this space is that we're actually leaving a lot of the original stuff intact. So you can see that the ceiling is unpainted in here. Everything that we learn as we're talking about deconstruction and talking about futures within the contracting world is about how well you can speak the language of building. And the language of building is primarily learned by experience, by looking at buildings, by learning how to read them. So we're trying to leave kind of a Rosetta Stone of the building, right? It's got most of the original ceiling with some ventilation added in so that we can safely operate it. You can see that the floors, this is the floors that were here when we came, but I want my trainees to be able to see that and see how transitions happen between different materials and practice within a supportive and not low-risk environment. Let's go look at some more of the warehouse. So this is what we're calling the yard. And it's the space that we're going to be using to store some of our more bulk building materials. It's where we're going to have our old growth lumber. This is the space where we're going to have bricks when we have them, where we've got roofing tiles. Some of those things that are not quite so condition dependent and that have an opportunity for more people to see them. So all of this is so that we can put more materials out of the landfills. All of this is so that we can put more materials towards reuse and that we can find more opportunities for people to include reclaimed materials on their projects. The yard is a fascinating part of that, and it's going to be a great opportunity for us. All right, we're going to end up our tour at the loft, one of the newest spaces that we've got that we're still putting together all the great ideas for how we can use that. So here we've got the loft. The loft is a unique space. It's a little bit more than 2,500 square feet. It's a space that we're using to do pop-up retail, to sometimes do gallery events, to be available for event rentals. We're trying to figure out how we can carve a space and keep it on its own until we see what the right opportunity is for it. Well, thank you so much for coming to take a tour of the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse. We're really excited about our new location, and we hope that you'll come and visit it. We're just around the corner from our old location, easy to find on Hartree. We're that big purple building on Hartree. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6. We've added some hours, we've added some days. We'd love to see you here.
Thank you to all of the participants of our Reuse Design Challenge, and congratulations to our winners. We're now going to hear from some of our valued staff of the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse as they talk about their experience.
About working for ERW for me is working with the participants in our workshops and also the kids and others that come out to our community events. It's so fun to watch the excitement in people's faces when they realize that they can do something, they can learn how to use a drill, or when kids do our string art and realize that they can just create something out of nails and a piece of wood and some string, and it's so empowering to them, and I really love to just see the looks on their faces.
I don't like to waste things. I'm glad when things get repurposed, reused, that I can keep stuff moving out of landfill, but it's not that it's just out of landfill, that it's actually repurposed and used for someone that's affordable or unique or whatever. It fits.
One of the big things that's really important to me is reducing waste. And I love the mission of the ERW in that we're trying to keep waste out of the landfill.
It was an organization that valued people. The mission, the reuse was really, really important to me, and it gave me an opportunity to use skills that I'd learned, throughout my life to help others.
The ability to save thousands of tons of material from the landfill and to build lives up through that, it's unparalleled compared to anything else I was looking at.
Here, it's not just a team of coworkers. Everyone is so passionate about the mission of both keeping things out of the landfill and also working with our workforce trainees and helping them grow into new careers.
ERW is far more than just a social justice organization. We're a family. We take care of each other, we help each other.
The best part about working for ERW is always the people.
One of my favorite things about working for the ERW and the sense of family that we have here.
Hands down, it's the people. It's the people that I meet on a daily basis, the customers. It is my fellow staff members.
People are always better than things, and although we save all these things from the landfill, it's seeing the change in people's lives and through our trainees' development that really is rewarding.
Working with folks who don't have, a lot of job opportunity. Maybe this is a phenomenal equalizer. It allows people to learn something that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to learn, to do things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do. It's, the second chance that a lot of people need.
We're an amazing supportive organization that invests in our people, in our trainees, and in our environment, and that's what means the most.
And it's just it's a wonderful place to be. People care about each other, and we care about the environment, and that's, what else could you ask for?
My name is Kimbo. The best thing about being in this program is working with awesome people and great skills. Their personality is great, and I think that's really important. And learning something new every day, I never stop learning working here.
Mario Quinones, my favorite thing I learned from this program so far was the proper way how to use a spray gun.
Hi, I'm Daniel, working right here at Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse. This program, is life-changing, changed my life. It's one part of my life that has changed is it got me on schedule, got me waking up, motivated to come to work and do something with my life every morning. So it's changing, it's a life-changing program.
I want to give a shout out to our staff and thank them and all of our volunteers as well for the tireless work they have done to support the mission of the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse and make our new space a reality. I'm now going to introduce our Executive Director, Ina Gutierrez, who wants to share with you some stories about the meaningful work the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse does and how you can become a community partner in supporting this work.
I'm Ina Gutierrez, Executive Director of the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse. One of the great blessings of my life is to be able to be part of this organization. The stories you've heard and the images you've seen in this program inspire me every day. Because we are going beyond talking about it. We are working together, rolling up our sleeves, and doing whatever it takes to build a sustainable community. We are not waiting for others to solve our problems. There is no time to wait. We are doing it. We are building a community that values repair and reuse, doesn't throw building materials away, supports others to have high-quality materials they need to create safe and happy homes, and wants all of its members to successfully hold jobs that support themselves and their families. We are doing it. And we want you to become part of our community so you can do it too. Tonight, we are asking for your help to meet our fundraising goals for the year. Some of you have already generously given to our crowdfunding campaign that we held earlier this year. And that helped us move into our new home and create a space to build the sustainable community. Tonight, I am asking for your donation to keep our work going and growing. Your donations will carefully and thoughtfully be used to keep more building materials out of landfills, to train and support folks overcoming barriers to employment to start careers in the building trades, provide educational and fun experiences for our community to learn about and work with reclaimed materials. We've taken a risk to grow during a pandemic. It's not something I take lightly, and frankly, it sometimes keeps me up at night. But we did it, and we are doing it because we know that you care. You want us to succeed. You want to do this with us, and our work is more important than ever. Doing this with us tonight means making a gift of an amount that is meaningful to you. You can text WB 2020 to 847-485-1717 or visit our event website at betterunite.com/WB2020. We are deeply grateful for all the ways that you support this work, and we thank you.
Thank you again, everyone, for joining us tonight. We know it's not the same as an in-person event, but our needs remain the same. We hope learning about our customers' projects that enable keeping valuable materials out of the landfill inspires you to stop by the new location to shop for unique finds. We hope you were delighted by the winners of the Reuse Challenge and will stop by to find your own ways to reuse our materials in your creative projects. We hope you were moved learning about our workforce training initiative and the important mission of the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse. If you are able, we invite you now once again to visit our event website at betterunite.com/WB2020 or text WB2020 to 847-485-1717 to make a gift to support the Wrecking Ball 2020 fundraiser. Thank you to everyone for your support, especially our sponsors who have lifted us up in this difficult time. Thank you as well to Bond Creative for being our event production partner for Wrecking Ball 2020. Good night, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you in our new location.